And it's about how much, I think, 130 million.
Yes, 130 millions, and almost nobody is knowing about it, almost nobody is talking about it. We are talking about, let's be honest, a corruption scheme when the European Commission, in cooperation with the European Parliament, is giving taxpayers' money to the concrete media and influencers to provide or to change the media narratives towards their agenda, towards their political views, towards their goals. They wanted to influence the people before the last year's European elections because, of course, they wanted to succeed in that elections, and this is, from my perspective, a corruption scheme.
Yes, because this French company called Havas Media Company, it's an advertising agency that has very strong connections. It has links to the major media like BBC, New York Times, all this media, and the one in our 27 countries, and it serves as a link, as an intermediary. So it gets the 132 million and then it distributes it, but we don't know who received them and what exactly did they write.
If the beneficiaries from that money who received all that funds would be represented equally between the conservative media, between the progressive liberal media, they would not have any kind of problem to publish it. But because they gave money only to the liberal media, only to the influencers with concrete audiences, follower base, which are people with these pro-liberal, pro-European and pro-progressive values, then we know very well that anybody can point at it and say, this is a corruption scandal, because you are using the taxpayers' money into influencing the results of the elections. This is something what is unimaginable in the real democracy, which you are always talking about, because you should not just take the money from the people who need to go to work, who need to pay the taxes and pay a propaganda media for influencing the results, because you want to hold your position as a politician, you want to maintain your power. Tell me, please, is this a corruption, or am I crazy somehow? Because I see it as a pure corruption scheme.
It really goes, as you very correctly point out, into propaganda. And it looks to me as if the whole European establishment is in crisis mode, because they need this. They need to push their image very strongly, because now we have Europe of sovereign nations, we have the patriots, we have groups that are pointing out to deficiencies, that are pointing out to legitimacy that is not there. So this is something that they actually very badly need. That's why they had to go to such measures.
They want to manipulate the minds and the souls of young people, because they know very well that people with all life experiences, people who survived so many years in a lot of situations, maybe people who survived 2 different regimes, like people in our countries, they have so many experiences that they are a little bit of resistant to the propaganda. But the young people who were born only in the one regime, and all the time they were talking to them that we are for democracy, we are for your freedom to work wherever you want, for your freedom to travel. And now those same media are talking to them, you need to go to vote, you need to vote for this kind of parties. And we know very well that it's paid, they are paid for that. Then it's a very dangerous situation, because the European Union is shifting from any kind of democracy project into the authoritarian, totalitarian projects, which they are still talking about and showing for us as some kind of threat which we need to protect Europe citizens from.
And the threat is right here where there is no transparency, where there are huge sums, 130 million used without transparency to one media that subsidized different outlets. Nobody knows what they wrote. Then we have 140 million for 1 year from Directorate General Communication. So I think it's a very good idea to look into this and then further on inform our citizens on what's going on here.
I think this is something what we can promise to all of our voters, but to all of the citizens of the European Union. They don't need to be our voters, because everyone with open mind and with some kind of willing for truth and willing for justice have to know that to disclose the list of the media which receive the money from the European Commission to popularize the elections, it's something what is going in the interest of everybody who likes the real democracy. And that European Commission don't want to disclose that list, it's very sad. So what I was talking about, we need to promise, and we can promise, that we as a member of European Parliament will do anything to find out what was on that list, to find out the concrete media companies which received the money, and we will push forward any kind of pressure against or towards the European Commission to publish that list, because it's their duty to act responsibly and to be transparent and to say to the people, yes, this is the way how we are using your money, because they are not speaking, they are not using their own money, they are using the money of the citizens of the member states of the European Union.
I could not agree more. And then we can really fill in this word democracy. What does democracy mean? It means the power to the people. So we could fill this with real meaning, and not our democracy as in the democracy of this kind of EU. It's the real democracy, the power to the people. So we will be following this very closely, and stay with us for our future comments on this topic.